Thanks for joining us for the Executive Series. I'm talking to Connie McKeage, who is the Managing Director of OneVue Holdings. Connie, it's good to be talking to you.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk a little bit about what has inspired you personally to get involved in this part of the financial services business.
Well, I've been in financial services for over 30 years, and I think that there's a seismic change happening with the financial services infrastructure and that the total cost of investing needs to come down. I have a passion for that, and so I get up every day and walk my, as we say at OneVue, 20-mile march in order to try and change the dynamics in the market.
Indeed. So where do you see the financial services most ripe for this change?
I think the role of the platform is very important in the industry, but we need to look at where value is actually created and remunerate commensurate with that.
So one of the ways that you're applying that platform strategy is where SMSF is concerned. That's a big market that has not really been executed terribly well as far as the Australian picture is concerned.
Well, the average retail superannuation customer is just over 98,000. The average SMSF customer is over $1 million. What we've done in our business, if we created an opportunity of 0 basis points on platform for unit trust that we administer, which enables an SMSF to compete, if you want to call it, on the same basis as a lower balance. At the moment, the platform industry is on basis points, which means if you're $1 million customer, you're virtually paying 10 times what you would a $100,000 customer, even though you're doing the same thing. We think there's a fundamental issue with that. We're trying to change up that pricing dynamic.
And that really speaks to a critical mass not being achieved by that party.
Correct.
And they're being punished for it. Almost.
That's right. And, you know, the nice thing about SMSFs is many of them have done it their way.
Yep.
They have tried to achieve financial independence. Their average balances show that. And yet, when they want consolidated reporting, they're being punished for that. If a $1 million SMSF invests and they do one application and one switch, then they're charged the same way as we do in another part of our business, fund services. If a $100,000 client does that, they will be charged less on a basis point. So $1 million client who's paying, let's call it 30 basis points, obviously pays a lot more, absolutely, than a lower balance client. And it doesn't seem right. People should be charged on a user pays basis.
Indeed. So you're actually providing a pretty compelling offering because you're offering a technology which simplifies things, but then you're also charging less for it. So how has that resonated with your key markets?
Look, there is a groundswell for change for all of the right reasons, ultimately from the investor back. A lot of the organizations that we deal with know that something has to change. There's a X and Y's coming up. By 2020, they'll represent over 74% of new flows. They don't think the same way that we do. We've got situations where, you know, the legacy clients don't want to pay this. We've entered a deflationary environment. So people are really looking at costs and what it means to their portfolio. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for all of us to change in order to make a better environment for the investor.
Okay, so when you look out through your optics over the course of the next 5 years, what are going to be the most exciting elements of the strategy?
I think the opportunity for us is to know that we fundamentally changed a market that has been the same for the last 30 years. I think it's a great opportunity for organizations like yours, who are very retail-based, to make a difference in the total cost to client. And I think ultimately it's better for the nation, it's better for the individuals if we allow them to have more money in their pocket and financial independence and self-esteem and everything that comes with it, than look at it in the short term as to how we maximize the short-term revenue. And I think ultimately we have to be a nation that understands self-sufficiency.
Indeed, it's so important. Connie, it's been great talking to you today. Thanks for your time.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for the Executive Series.